All right, we're talking with the newest Golden State Warriors first round draft choice, Brandin Podziemski, I should say. And Brandon, thank you very much for your time and good to see you. I would say welcome to the Bay Area, but you've been at Santa Clara. Um, Thanks for the time and what was it like getting drafted by Golden State?
Yeah, first and foremost, thanks for having me. Appreciate the time. But yeah, it was kind of cool. Just being there at draft night in the green room was super special for me and my family, obviously. Um, it was a long night, but I felt like I ended up in the right place for me and the right place for the Warriors.
No question. And you were Mr. Basketball in the state of Wisconsin and then went to Illinois for your freshman year, transferred to Santa Clara, played a year for Herb Sendek, and had a great year in the WCC. What do your friends call you, by the way? They call you Brandon, or do you have a nickname? What do you go by?
Yeah, I mean, they call me Pods, BP, B, anything like that. Curly-headed assassin. I mean, I get that one a lot.
Which name do you like the best?
I honestly don't really care. It's kind of whatever for me.
Now you're a Milwaukee kid. Does that mean you grew up Bucks, Packers, Brewers fan? I mean, who are your teams?
I like the Chiefs. I really
Okay.
like Mahomes, what he does. Grew up as a Miami Heat fan. Um, and then in baseball, I really don't have a team, but I've been to a couple of Atlanta Braves games before, and it's really nice.
I was just watching you for 1 year at Santa Clara. You play with this great competitive fire. This you can see kind of the determination on your face. Where does that come from? Where does that competitive fire come from? Have you always had it?
Yeah, I think I've always had it. I think it comes from, growing up with my parents, not letting me win at anything. And, just experiencing a lot of losing from my parents when I was growing up just inspired me to win more. And I think, from that, I think I take competing and winning to a different level when it comes to anything.
I loved your dad in the draft coverage. I mean, some of the parents were kind of laid back, but your dad's like, man, the Warriors are getting a dog, and this, Brandon will run through walls, and he lives to win, and he lives to get better. How instrumental were your mom and dad in getting you to this point?
Yeah, I mean, they're definitely one of the reasons I am here. Uh, they're just always on me about getting better, keep improving, and having a growth mindset in whatever situation you're put in. Obviously, at Illinois I didn't play, but being able to have a growth mindset and knowing that I have room to grow and get better for the next opportunity in life was definitely instrumental in terms of my success at Santa Clara. So yeah, they've been a big part of it.
You went to a military academy, St. John's Northwestern Military Academy. What was that like for you? I mean, you averaged 35 a game there. What kind of team did you guys have?
Yeah, it was great. Military school taught me a lot of things, both on and off the floor, um, which I'm super grateful for. Super glad I made that decision to go to that school. Our team was solid. I think each and every year I played there for my 3 years, we got better, and obviously no state championships came out of it. But I think for me, in terms of an experience standpoint, I think it was probably the best experience I've had to date. So I can't thank St. John's enough for letting me attend.
At Santa Clara, I just got a chance to watch maybe 5 or 6 games that you played in, and to what struck me was just your basketball IQ, kind of your overall feel for the game. To me, that feel and that basketball IQ kind of comes screaming off the page. I saw you modeled your game after Manu Ginobili, and Larry Harris, the Warriors' assistant GM, said he kind of thinks of Jalen Brunson when he watches you. Is there a player in the league that you think that's a good comp for your game?
Yeah, I mean, I think Jalen Brunson's a good one. I also think Dante DiVincenzo, like you said, Manu is pretty cool too. So I think a little bit of those three.
What do you, if you could say one part of the game that you think that you need the most work on, what would you say you need most to upgrade as you make the transition?
Uh, Probably defending his space. I think that was a struggle for me at the combine, but I think through pre-draft workouts and through practices so far, I've seen great strides in that. So I'm feeling pretty good about it.
I saw a video where you actually named all 18 guys that were drafted in front of you. Um, is it, it looks like when I'm watching you play, like you play with a chip, on your shoulder. Is that, and does that fuel your fire? I mean, how much does that chip on your shoulder, impact your development and your improvement?
I mean, yeah, it does. And I think I'm a lot better than a lot of those players. But at the end of the day, I think my mindset, it doesn't change whether I was drafted first or 19th. I don't think it necessarily adds any fuel, but I think it'll be a proving point to a lot of people in the future.
What's it been like so far with the summer league practices? What do you think of the squad so far?
Yeah, we've had 2 practices so far. It's been really good. Really excited to see how much talent we actually have. I was actually kind of shocked how much talent they brought in, and it makes my job a lot easier, which is really nice. But I think we can go undefeated in summer league for sure.
What did you think of Trace Jackson Davis? I loved him at Indiana. Now you guys are teammates.
Yeah, super athletic, more athletic than people give him credit for. It's a great feel. Obviously, he's still, putting that jump shot together, but in terms of his passing and his IQ, it really fits how the Warriors play for sure.
Have you had a chance to talk to Steph or Clay or Draymond yet? You probably had a chance to talk to Kerr, huh?
Yeah, Steph FaceTimed me. I think it was Friday or Saturday. He's just saying congrats and welcome. He's like, call me if you need anything, stuff like that. So it's pretty cool. See, he reached out. Kevon Looney reached out to me. Obviously, I've been around a lot of the young guys: Moses Moody, Gary Payton. So it's been quite the experience for sure in the first week.
I mean, I know it's probably. I saw that in the draft coverage. You're like, hey man, I really wanted to play against Steph, and now you're playing on the same team with him. I mean, have you had a chance to kind of just soak it in and be like, man, I mean, look where I'm at. I mean, almost a perfect situation. I get to play with one of the greats of all time.
Yeah, I mean, I think that was kind of the moment when I kind of realized that I'm in the NBA is when he called me. Um, but yeah, I've definitely taken some time to just realize it. It's pretty cool to think about. I kind of just go about everyday life like I'm just a regular person. I don't really think about it too much. Um, but yeah, it's been great.
You're a Midwestern kid, and you moved out here to Santa Clara. Why did you choose Santa Clara? Was Sendek hot on your trail, or who did Santa Clara beat out to get you?
Yeah, he definitely was. I first one to call me when I entered the portal. I knew Keyshawn Justice from back home. He's from Madison, Wisconsin, so I knew him growing up. And then just seeing what Jalen did, becoming a lottery pick from Santa Clara, just kind of gave me even more confidence that I could do somewhat similar things as him. So kind of all those factors put together, really just made it make sense.
What is the difference in your mind between WCC ball and Big Ten? I know his freshman year you just didn't get a lot of minutes. You got a full run your sophomore year in the WCC, but how would you compare those two levels? Obviously, Big Ten is maybe a little bit of a higher level, deeper talent base. But how would you compare the two leagues?
Yeah, I would say the WCC is more NBA translatable. Um, you know, Big Ten's more big man oriented, I would say, and it's just slow basketball. I think WCC's, you know, very up tempo game. Um, I think besides maybe Drew Timmy, I think every team in WCC has like modern bigs that fit NBA play style. Um, where I mean, I think the Big Ten has some too in Trace, but I think, guys like Zach Edey, guys like that, Hunter Dickinson. Um, I think their skill set is more for college and not necessarily for the NBA style. But I think there's also pluses and minuses. I think you got a lot of guards that come out of the Big Ten each and every year. But same with the WCC, and I think the WCC is getting more recognition over the years, which is really cool to see.
Couple more before we let you go. You grew up in the Midwest, and obviously Milwaukee, and then Champaign, and then coming out here to the West Coast, and now you're going to stay out here in the Bay. How would you compare the Midwest growing up to what you've experienced? Going to Santa Clara and living out here in the Bay Area.
Yeah, Midwest is cool. I mean, it's a lot of different cultures where I grew up, which is cool. Just growing up around different people and different cultures, and what they stand for and stuff like that. And somewhat similar out here too. I think through both, I think the people are really great. I think they welcome you with open arms. Um, as long as you treat them right. Um, but yeah, I mean, there's not much difference between the weather, except the weather, I should say. Besides that, I think the food might be a little bit better out here. But other than that, it's not much difference.
You're not missing that weather, are you?
Nah, I'm not.
Couple last ones before we let you go. What do you want your legacy to be, man? I mean, when you go, I mean, I think the Warriors are getting a hell of a player. I think the fans are going to realize that. But you seem real like a guy who's really determined to have a terrific NBA career. You're a young guy though. Have you thought what you want your legacy in the league to be?
Yeah, I mean, when you think about it, you only have one life to live, so you might as well live it to the fullest. And I think, for me as a basketball player, I think, everyone's cliche thing is, oh, I want to be the best ever. But, I think there's few that have the mindset and willingness to do so. But, I think I can. Well, first you got to be one of the best Warriors, that's pretty hard in itself because, Steph's here. But I just want to be as good as I can be, whatever that is. Only my work ethic and my play on the court will show. But as far as I can take it, I want to take it. So yeah, I couldn't give you a definitive answer because everybody says the best ever, but just as far as I can take it, for sure.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's awesome to have goal. I mean, if you want to be the best ever, that nobody would ever question that. But hey, how about on the ball, off the ball? You feel better? You're kind of a combo guard size. Do you feel better on the ball? Do you feel better playing off the ball? Or do you consider yourself more of a one or more of a two?
Yeah, I mean, if you were to ask me in college, I would say more of a one. But the way the Warriors play, I mean, Steph's a one, but he plays the two really. I mean, it's just a lot of moving the ball, which is kind of predicated on how I like to play as well. So I think it's super interchangeable when it comes to that stuff. I think it's, not as many ball screens as people think, and it's just a lot of player and ball movement. So I think anybody can just plug and play anywhere. So I feel comfortable, honestly, anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, it's a lot of interchangeable parts. Two last ones. Any idea or what's your expectation of how much you play as a rookie? I mean, obviously you want to play as much as possible. But it's a talented team that it's a title contender. What's a realistic goal for how much you can contribute this year?
Yeah, I think, obviously you want to play as much as you can, right? But
sure.
At the end of the day, you got to know who you're playing with and all that kind of good stuff. And I think, I got Chris Paul next to me, Steph, Clay, Gary, Payton, Moses Moody. I mean, you got a lot of people that have experienced it that you haven't. And, I just want to play and contribute however I can. I mean, I obviously want to win the championship, so whatever that, kind of takes, I mean, that's what I'm willing to do.
Hey, last one for you. We appreciate your time, man. You get drafted, you hug mom, you hug dad. There was a third guy at the table that you hugged. Who was your was that your uncle or something?
My stepdad.
Stepdad. And then you're about to turn to the stage, and some tiny little kid runs down to the rail, and he was like, "Hey, Brandon's got good peripheral vision." He gave you a little pound right there. You saw that kid out of the corner of your eye. Is that an example of your court vision, man? Because it seemed like he came up on you.
Yeah, I think it's an example of that. But also just not being too big for who you are. I was a kid too, and I know how it feels to be around professionals and wanting to, even just a simple fist bump can go a long way. So just not being too big for who you are just because, the stage you're on. And just taking time for everybody, I think, is super important for me.
Yeah, no question. Hey, man, good luck in SAC in the Summer League. Good luck in Vegas. Glad to see you're a Warrior, and thanks for giving us a few minutes. Appreciate you.
Appreciate it. Anytime, just let me know. Thank you.
Thank you.